Hello, everybody. It's Haley again from Sailfin Productions. I hope you're all having a great day. Today, we're going to be doing another Photoshop tutorial, and we're doing portrait retouching. So this is the frequency separation technique. We want to separate the texture of the skin onto one layer and then the color of the skin onto another. So we can sort of manipulate one without affecting the other. I want to preface this video by saying, first of all skin is beautiful and should be celebrated. And you know what? If you've got blemishes, I'm an acne sufferer myself. That's not something to be ashamed of. And by no means do you actually have to go in and retouch that. Okay, so let's get started. I have a photo here. You are free to use this photo if you'd like to follow along with the tutorial. You can find it on our blog, which will be linked below. We got a beautiful model here, and she does have a couple little problem areas. No problem. We're going to fix those up right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our layer, our background layer, and we're just going to hit Command J twice on a Mac. I think it's Control J on a PC. And we're just going to duplicate the layer twice. And I'm going to rename. I'm going to name one color and one texture. And now we're going to go in and try to separate these layers. So what we're going to do with our color layer is I'm actually going to turn the visibility right here off on the texture layer so we can see the color. And I'm going to hop on up to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And what you'd like to do, I'm going to go at around 13 is pretty good for this particular image, but what you'd like to do is get it to a point where the skin looks fairly airbrushed. It's not, you can still tell that it's what it is. It's still skin, it's still a face, but just a nice airbrush texture. So I've already pre-done this and I liked around 13. So I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to turn the texture layer back on. So now we are going to separate the texture. The color is the easy part. Texture, we are actually going to jump into Image, Apply Image. And here's what you're going to do. Again, if you need more structured directions, go visit our blog. It's all laid out there perfectly for you so you don't have to rewatch the video. So we're going to set the layer to color, the channel to RGB, and we're going to hit Invert. Now we're going to go down to our blending mode, Add. There we go. And if I zoom in here, and opacity 100%, scale 2. And if I zoom in, I'm going to hit OK. If I zoom in, you can see that it's actually picked up all the texture, separated all the texture on our model's face. And then we're going to just hit over here, and we're going to choose the blending mode, and we're going to change that to linear light. So if I toggle, just for the sake of this, I'm just going to remove these. You can see the image actually does not change. We are going to begin with removing any unwanted texture on the face. We are going to select the patch tool. Now you can really use any, well, not any of these tools, but you could use patch, healing brush, spot healing brush, whatever you feel comfortable with. I like patch. I find I have the most control with that tool. And we're going to zoom right in, get really close and personal with our model's face. So we're going to actually go in and start selecting the problem areas, and the patch tool actually samples, when you drag it over, it samples from the clearer areas of skin and duplicates that, clones that sample over top of the problem areas. So this part can be quite time consuming because you can really go at it as, you can go as in-depth as you'd like to, get it as clear as you'd like. So you can really, really get those fine details here if you so desire. And I would like to note that the texture of the skin is not affecting the color. So if I'm removing a pinker toned blemish area, that the texture of that area will be gone, but the color will not. So we will have to clean up that color when we hit the color layer in a moment. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty good about the texture of her skin now. I'm not super crazy picky about skin texture. I like skin to look like skin. We're not robots. We can still look like human beings, even in advertising. So I'm happy with the way that looks. Now we're going to even out the skin tone. So her skin tone is really beautiful. She's a makeup artist. Great job on her makeup here. But we can just go and even out the little areas that we manipulated the texture. So we're going to select our brush tool, and I have opacity at 100 and my flow at 5%. Now, you can also do this by using the mixer brush tool. It really is about what you like and how airbrushed you'd like your model to look. I find that using the brush tool actually is a little bit more natural than the mixer brush. However, it really is up to you. Experiment with both, see what you like, see what works for you. So I'm going to sample, just hitting Alt or Option brings up my little sampler tool here. And I'm going to sample different parts of the skin and just begin evening out the skin tone a little bit. So areas of redness, I'm just going to sort of very, very subtly run over those. And I'm just going to continue. You can see I continue to resample different areas as I move along. You certainly don't want to be bringing this light color all the way over here. You can see how that stands out. And remember, if you find some other things in your texture layer that you'd like to change, you just click on your texture layer, grab your patch tool, and patch up any of those little areas that you'd like to remove. So for instance, there we go, that part was bothering me a little. So now I'm just going to remove the pink undertones from the textured areas that we removed. So I'm just sampling from that area and just very subtly brushing over it. I'm a light-handed editor. Okay, so I am quite happy with the way that our model's skin looks in this image. I'm actually really happy with it. You can see, I'll zoom in a little bit on her face. You can see the difference. I'll remove the top two layers. And I'll bring them back. And I'll remove them. So you can see that what we've done here is really natural. She still looks like herself. Her skin looks really beautiful and glowy, as it does naturally, but we just got rid of those couple little problem areas. Now we could go further into this image and remove some of these flyaways and change up a couple other things, work on some more coloring, some contour, some dodging burning, all kinds of different things, which we will do in a new installment of a retouching portrait video coming in the future. For now, I just wanted to keep this one simple, just about frequency separation. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful. And I look forward to chatting with you in our next video. So have a great day.